call this regular meeting of the Harlingen City Commission, which has been duly posted, to order. And this time I'd like to call upon Commissioner Victor Leal to lead us in an invocation, please.
If you'll join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you this day and we ask for your blessings upon this meeting. Lord, allow us the wisdom to make the decisions and give us the protection that we need for all the events that are going around us, Lord. Lord, be with the police officers as they're sorting through their day, Lord. Give them courage and give them wisdom to make right choices. Lord, be with our first responders, Lord, as they have to go out and attend to people, Lord. Give them safety and safe passage. Lord, be with each and every one of our employees. Allow them to do their work in a safe manner. Lord, we just praise you and we honor you this day. Be with us, bless us, watch over us. In Jesus Christ's holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to welcome everyone here tonight to the meeting, and to those who may be watching us online as we live stream this meeting. So we want to thank everybody for continuing to practice physical distancing, wearing of masks, good hygiene, washing hands, and continuing to keep everybody safe in our community. Item 1 is a presentation by the Finance Director regarding the City of Harlingen's finances for fiscal year 2019-2020. So, Robert.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. Today I'd like to give you a brief overview of our financial condition of the city with all the things that are going on. So, go to our first slide. Our first slide is our revenue projections for the year. If you see any columns that are highlighted in blue, those are actual amounts. So if you see in April, these percentages here are what we realized in our sales tax. So in April, we realized 5%. We had a decrease in 5% of our sales tax. So it was 5% less than what we thought we were going to get. So, which is actually pretty good. And these numbers in April actually report what's in February. The numbers in May report what's in March. So they're the collections that are in March that are emitted in April. So we're down 13.73%. Any columns that are in this reddish color represent projections going to the end of the year. So we have June, July, August, and September that we projected. And we projected conservatively that we're probably going to be down a certain percentage for the year, 20% in June, 15% in July, 5% and 5% in August and September. So depending on how the environment is, and if we're still social distancing, if the virus gets worse, or if cases go higher, that may be around 20%, 15%. And these are conservative amounts, so hopefully they will come in better than that. So by the end of the year, we're projecting that we will have $47,918,000 compared to a budget of $48,238 in revenues, and this is just a general fund. So we're actually projecting a deficit of $319,751. So in the previous month, if you remember, it was up at $1 million, but our sales tax came in pretty good in May. So that dropped this down along with other small items that we did clean up with budget. So that's down to $319. The next one is a summary of our revenue projections and planned expenditure reductions to address the deficits. So we are projecting budgeted revenues of $48,238,129 and projected revenues from the previous chart of $47,918,000, leaving us a deficit of $319. So how do we address that deficit? In the hotel occupancy tax, we budgeted $860,000, and we're projecting to be a little bit over that. I think we kind of like budgeted a little bit conservatively on that number. We've had capital expenditures that we have reduced that we're not going to go forward with, totaling $206,948, which include a generator for the city hall, storage room, and EOC and other items. Projected cost savings that we're projecting in salaries is $482,158, so those will be savings in salaries. We have estimated reimbursable leave through the Coronavirus Relief Fund of $60,343, and that's people that have taken leave because of quarantine or other items. We are projecting reimbursements from the Corona Relief Fund of $243,548. So we have additional cost savings of $786,000 that will offset that deficit. For our projected fund balance and days of operation, this is a nice little summary of how many days in operations. So we're beginning the year with a fund balance of $20,789,000. Our projected revenues of $47,918,000, and our expected expenditures based on our budget is $51 million. So if we add back our payroll savings of $482, our capital outlay savings of $206, and our estimated reimbursables of $60,243, that leaves us an estimated ending fund balance of $18,278,000, which is approximately 130 days of operations. And we also have access to the catastrophic emergency funds of $825,000, which would potentially bring our estimated fund balance with emergency reserves of $19,104,000, which approximates 136 days of operations. On the next slide is a summary of the hotel motel, and again, these are actual amounts and these are projected amounts, and these are very conservative amounts of our collections. So the bottom part, the budgeted revenues, we're budgeted at $860. If we were to continue with the $860, we would only get to $843, but we are actually estimating that we'll probably come in about $1 million in the hotel motel. And that's pretty much it. That's the summary of the financial condition.
All right, does anybody have any questions?
Yes, so you're planning for the worst.
I'm sorry?
You're planning,
Is it on?
there we go. You're planning for the worst.
Yes, we are planning conservatively on there. Yes, sir.
As an example, for, what was it, April?
Yes.
We were projecting a 30% decline in sales tax, we came in at -5.
Yeah.
And for May, we were projecting -40, we came in at -13.73%. So yes, we are being very conservative with our projections.
So Robert, at the end of the year, if we still have a negative number, that 300,000+ or 200,000 or whatever that number is, if it's negative, do you plan on tapping into that reserve fund to
Yep.
shore that up,
Well,
or?
we've actually.
We've actually made that up and then some. Can
Uh-huh.
you go back to can you put it back up, please?
You made it up with the salary savings? and-
Yeah, we have some.
So
Okay,
we're
that's
almost
what I was asking.
we're almost at $1 million with the capital expense
Right.
holdbacks and then the salary savings and the CARES funds.
So, what's that number then? Will we end up in a positive?
We would end up about $700,000.
Yeah.
In positive, okay, and that rolls over into the next,
And so I'm still considering doing the generator at City Hall, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait till
So
the
that's
next
a-
month,
that's-
next sales tax.
Right.
If it comes in at a much better projection, then we'll move forward with that, because I think we do definitely need to do the generator at City Hall.
right, you gotta operate, right?
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Just real quick, I'd like to also highlight, on this estimated coronavirus, so far we've estimated that we've done expenditures out of our own budget of $243,000, which are going to be reimbursed with the Corona Relief Fund, which we have already received $751,000 of that funding in advance.
So but that's not in here,
It's.
The 243 is.
okay.
Yeah,
The
so-
243 and the 60,000 are coming from the CARES fund.
Right, I'm only including what we've already spent in there.
And-
So we can only count that as revenue as we spend it.
As we get it, okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
So if you see this note down here, we've already received 20%, which is $751,000. So we have available $3 million to tap into, so as we chip away at it.
Okay.
And the estimated for emergency reserves?
At 800 and.
Right, we haven't touched that at all.
No, we budget 25,000 every year for sandbag operations,
Okay?
and that's in our existing budget. That is not included in the 825. So that money is just sitting in the fund balance.
That's what I'm saying. We haven't touched it, it's still there.
Please don't jinx us, so.
No, no, no,
we haven't needed-
but
We
have
that
also-
was in case there was no coronavirus release fund,
That's right.
correct?
Yeah,
And that
that's
we're
right.
getting that as the offset.
And as Robert pointed out, we already received the first 750,000 from the
Correct.
CARES fund. We're chipping away at that money. So far, we're at about 300,000, and that number is going to climb.
Correct.
We're getting additional information from the different departments, and so that number will climb.
But what's real positive is the fact that you were projecting conservative, like a bigger
Yes, sir.
loss. And and hopefully that trend continues to be
Yes, sir.
balanced,
Hopefully,
correct?
yeah, it continues. So in the catastrophic fund, we also moved 50,000 to do our, the coronavirus testing, but that now can be covered under the
Correct.
751.
So we didn't know, but you took some out and now you're able to replace it.
Right,
which
and
is
we
a
haven't
good
spent
thing.
it, but we can use that for it.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Robert and staff are doing a great job.
Thank you for keeping us
Thanks.
informed.
Appreciate that.
Hey, good job.
Well, I think all, yeah, and that's a good report, but to be clear, we don't have a crystal ball. We can make
Right.
projections, but we make those projections based upon the best information we have today, and tomorrow that information could be different. We can't know that, but hopefully, things will continue to level out. And obviously, it was a good indicator that we got with this most recent sales tax numbers, and we hope that will continue.
That's correct.
But thank you for staying on top of this
Thank
for
you.
us and making sure that we are being able to meet all of our obligations and doing the right thing with our money. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, unless there are any other questions, item 2 is the approval of the minutes of the, let me go back and just, I had asked Amanda if there was any citizen communication before the meeting started, and she told me there is not. So,
That's
but
correct.
is there any citizen communication?
No, sir. No
Okay.
citizens.
So, no citizen communication, nobody signed up or sent in a request. So item 2, approval of the minutes of the special city commission meeting of April 28th, 2020, and the regular city commission meeting of May 6th, 2020. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Quinton, second by Commissioner Leal. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Consent agenda items 3A through E. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 4, consideration possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading repealing the ordinance number 8-36 in its entirety and repealing and replacing Chapter 46, Article 3, Division 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Harlingen, Texas by adding a new Division 2, Wreckers, amending Chapter 18, Fees of the Code of Ordinances as it provides for fees and charges related to wreckers, providing for penalties for failure to comply with such ordinances, providing a severability clause, repealing all ordinances in conflict therewith, providing for publication, and providing for an effective date. Yes, sir.
Mayor, Commissioner, City Manager, staff is proposing to repeal ordinance 08-36 in its entirety and fine truck operators and companies or wreckers conducting business in the city of Harlingen is necessary and proper in order to better manage the operation and disposition of said businesses in respect to licensing, insurance, fees, and other requirements, and therefore improve the provisions of such services to the public. And some of the main things that were updated, sir, are some of the definitions, some of the sections of the ordinance that needed clarification, and also updated some of the fees to make it more competitive with surrounding cities. Any questions?
So this is essentially housekeeping.
Excuse me?
I got a couple nods back there.
Yes.
But this is a replacement to the existing, correct? And so some of the elements of the old one were asking an individual who they wanted to get preference of towing. Is that not correct?
Yes, sir, I believe so, and that's why some of the things were updated.
That's why some of these were updated, because I know that received some comments about, I never got an opportunity to ask which wrecker, or the wrecker service took the vehicle out of town, and then I had to pay an extra charge to bring it back into town. Has that been cleared out also?
Yes, sir, I believe so.
I'm looking around at the room, and I'm trying to figure out, I'm seeing no back there and yes here. And I couldn't find that in here. That's why I'm asking that question.
I'm not sure.
Can you just explain the pros and cons? I mean, are we making it better or harder on the citizen to recoup their vehicle, one, and is it getting more expensive for them to recoup the vehicle?
Good evening. The option of somebody having a preference is still there.
Good.
As long as a person can ask, I wish this company for this service. That's still the option, yes. So what was the other question?
The other question was, some of the comments I had received in the past on the old one was, the tow truck company that picked up my vehicle is not in Harlingen. And so therefore, I'm having to pay for that vehicle to come back to Harlingen.
There are some requirements for a record company. They have to meet some requirements in order to service our citizens of Harlingen. And distance has been addressed, yes.
So there's no longer a surcharge because they're bringing it out of Westlaco back to Harlingen,
No.
right? They're going to be treated as if, they're going to move that vehicle to XYZ garage in Harlingen, and the service fee to move that vehicle to that garage is going to be from Harlingen to Harlingen. It won't be a Westlaco to Harlingen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes?
That is correct.
Okay, because I couldn't find that specific in there, and I just want to make sure that we've cleared that up, because that
Yes, that's
was
correct.
a gray area.
So they would have, they have to report to the city, grab a permit, give you the credentials, and then we do a rotation?
List,
So,
correct.
and that's pretty much it. So we're trying to prevent people from, other than if they request it, you stick to that guideline of this is the next guy up and whatnot?
Correct. So if we show up at the scene of an accident and somebody says, I prefer X company to service me. If they don't have a preference, then we will list, we will turn over to the rotation list, and then the next one in line will provide that service.
And who makes that decision? The comm center, the police department, or
There's
who's
a
who's making sure we're not skipping on that list? Or
Comp Center has a list, and every time they use a record, it goes down to the bottom of the
Okay.
list, and the next one pops up.
It's automatic.
So that's
Okay.
all in the CAD.
excellent. Okay,
Okay,
good job.
that's great. I know it took you a lot of work to do this, so thank you.
Couple of years.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions?
Has this been reviewed with the record services? I imagine y'all got some input from them?
We did talk to them about, we were gonna update some of the wording on here and stuff like that.
Okay.
So pretty much, hasn't been major changes, it's just additions, clarifications.
Awesome. Motion to approve? Oh, no, we have to read the
Let's ask
caption.
the city attorney to read the caption, please.
An ordinance repealing ordinance number 0836 in its entirety and repealing and replacing Chapter 46, Article 3, Division 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Harlingen, Texas, by adding a new Division 2, Records, amending Chapter 18, Fees of the Code of Ordinances as it provides for fees and charges related to records, providing for penalties for failure to comply with such ordinances, providing a severability clause, repealing all ordinances in conflict therewith, providing for publication, and providing for an effective date.
Now,
Now I can make the motion. Motion to approve.
Second.
any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, the motion carries. Item 5, consideration and possible action to authorize the mayor on behalf of the city of Harlingen Police Department to accept a grant award from the Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Funding Program fiscal year 20 from the Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance in the amount of $55,218.
City Commissioners, Mayor, City Manager, we intend to purchase items with this money to continue to address COVID-19 related issues. For example, some of the items would be a sanitizing sprayer, air duct purifiers, a radar messaging board, and an online Police One virtual training academy, and additional personal protective equipment. I'm prepared to answer any questions.
All right, is there a motion to accept the grant award?
So moved. I'll second that.
Let's take the money.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Be eager to take the money.
Yes, sir.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you all. Thank you for staying on top of these grants. Item 6, consideration possible action to approve a resolution authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city of Harlingen to submit a grant application for $18,405.80 to the Department of Justice Bulletproof Vest Partnership to purchase and replace 20 bulletproof vests.
This is a 50-50 match, so our match is of $9,202.90. With this grant, we intend to replace 12 vests, which are currently expired, and we will purchase additional vests for our new hires. I'm prepared to answer any
Sure.
questions.
Motion to approve the application.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, consideration of possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading for the adoption of the 2018 International Codes and the 2017 National Electrical Codes.
Mayor, City Commissioners, good afternoon. On February 26, 2020, the Building Inspections Department was surveyed by the Insurance Service Office, the ISO, using the Building Code Effectiveness Grading Schedule, BCEGS. ISO is an independent statistical rating and advisory organization that serves the industry and manages the BCEGS program. The program is an evaluation system that has reviewed building code enforcement for more than 20,000 communities nationwide. ISO analyzes the data and develops a building code effectiveness classification from 1 to 10 for both commercial and residential construction. Class 1 represents exemplary commitment to building code enforcement. Insurers use the classifications to grant premium credits for buildings constructed in jurisdictions that enforce the latest code revisions. One of the major determining factors in obtaining a good rating is to have adopted building codes within 6 years of the current date. The City of Harlingen is currently operating under the 2012 International Building Codes and the 2014 National Electrical Code. As a result of our existing codes being in excess of 6 years, the city's current classification of 4 received a reclassification of a 9. However, the classification becomes official. Before the classification becomes official, the city was given an opportunity to develop a program to regain the current classification of 4. The proposed program is, as recommended by the ISO, is to have the current codes upgraded to the 2018 building codes and the 2017 electrical codes. As we're all aware, building codes changes affect the building and construction industry in some form, way, or fashion. A list with the major changes was prepared by our chief building official, Mr. Ismael Ortega, and was emailed to several local developers, designers, architects, engineers, and professionals in the construction trades. This list includes some of the most significant changes, and a copy of the list is in your packet in an attempt to receive their input. 73 recipients were sent the email, and we got 8 positive responses and no negative responses. A copy of the responses is also in your packet. We received positive responses from John Piercy from Megamorphosis Architecture Forum, Todd Awney, Vice President, CTO Inc., Amir Hassan, contractor, Nile First Class Properties, David Day, an engineer with Casa Engineering, Javier Huerta, architect, Origo Works, and Jorge Torres, contractor, UR Homes. They all gave us positive comments on the codes. And in conclusion, failure to adopt the new codes this year will inevitably result in higher insurance premiums for our local property owners. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Mr. Ortega, and he will give a brief PowerPoint on the major changes.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. This is a brief PowerPoint put up of just a few, very few significant changes that are considered notable. This one first is for the International Residential Code, and it's in reference to photovoltaic systems, the solar panels. There was a new section added that has structural requirements and has been consolidated into one. The current code has it throughout several sections. The 2018 has consolidated into one, making it easier to abide by. This one here is on the energy conservation, again on the residential side. Now requires that ducts be tested for any leakage on the AC systems. On the fuel gas side, gas-fired clothes dryers are now allowed to be installed in bathrooms or toilet rooms where a permanent opening communicates with other permitted spaces. So these changes not only make it more difficult, they also provide more options for newer modeled appliances in this case. On the plumbing side, water hammer arresters are now required for quick closing valves that are used in water distribution systems. On the electrical side, still on
Question
residential.
on that, the last one.
Yes.
So that would be like irrigation systems?
On your closing valves, more in the interior of the house. This
Okay.
is to prevent the rattling inside the house.
Okay, and
When-
this is on new construction now?
New construction, yes, sir. On the electrical, for the residential side, a separate 20-amp branch circuit is now required to serve receptacle outlets of attached garages and detached garages with electrical power. Currently, they allow it to be attached to any closed circuit they may be by, laundry room, kitchen. Now they're required to be on a separate circuit. There was a new appendix added to address tiny houses. If we go on the route to allow tiny houses, there is specifications now on the building code that can help address those type of questions. And these will apply for structures with 400 square feet or less. On the commercial side, on the sprinkler side for Group E, which is your educational, your schools, criteria for occupant load threshold and location within the building have been added as conditions that could require sprinkler protection in Group E occupancies, where occupant load is greater than 300. Currently, there is no occupant load now. This has been more restrictive now, so schools with the 300 or more will be required to have a sprinkler system. Occupant load calculations based on the business use. The method of calculating occupant load in business areas has been revised, which will typically result in reduced design occupant loads. However, higher design occupant loads can now be assigned to concentrated business areas such as telephone call centers and similar uses. Currently, we don't have any numbers associated for these call centers. So this here now addresses it. On the commercial side, with
Sir,
regards
so
to...
I'm saying, so in that particular case on the call centers, that takes effect when they go into ask for a certificate of occupancy for their particular business, because it's not necessarily new construction, or they're going into an old building and they're remodeling, and for them to get a permit to operate, they would have to abide by whatever you lay out. Is that correct?
Not if the current use is a call center now, as of today.
Okay.
This will apply to new constructions, new buildings, new buildings.
Okay, so
Or there's a change.
if one call center moves to a different building, but it was like an old mall or like into the mall or something, and they reoccupy a space or repurpose it, that's not new construction, so it doesn't apply to this?
In that case, it would, because it's a change in occupancy type.
Okay, okay,
So that mall was not originally designed for a call center.
okay. But so they go from call center to call center, there it's okay, but if it's a different use, okay,
That's correct.
I understand, okay. Sorry, go ahead.
On the plumbing side, commercial-wise, business occupancies having 25 or fewer persons are allowed to have the required single-user toilet room, not labeled by a specific sex. This number has to be gone up. Currently, requires 2 bathrooms if you have 15 or more. In this case, it has gone up to 25 or more.
Or less.
Discharge of disposers to grease interceptors prohibited. Food waste disposal discharge to any type of grease interceptor is prohibited now. On the mechanical side, sealing of clothes dryer exhaust ducts. The code now speaks to the sealing of clothes dryer exhaust ducts. This is basically an energy conservation as well, so to eliminate the heat. Pollution control units. The code added coverage and definition for pollution control units, which are installed in grease exhaust systems to extract smoke, grease, particles, odors from the exhaust flow. On the fuel gas, bonding of CSST and arc-resistant CSST. Sections 310 and 12 previously applied to all CSST products, but is now restricted to only the traditional Yellow Jacket CSST products. A new section in 310.3 was added to address the arc-resistant CSST products. Grounding electrodes for CSST bonding. The code was clarified with regard to the purpose of any additional grounding electrodes. That concludes the PowerPoint. Any questions?
Anybody have any other questions? I read the comments from most of the, those that responded seemed to be okay with it, from the contractors.
It's going to help with the insurance, our insurance
Engineers,
rates.
yeah.
Yeah, so we strongly
Okay.
recommend approval.
All right, so ask the city attorney to read the caption, please.
An ordinance repealing ordinance number 14-9, which enacted the predecessors of the following codes and adopting the 2018 edition of the International Building Code, including all appendix chapters, the 2018 International Residential Code, including appendix chapters A through K, and appendix chapters M through T, the 2018 International Existing Building Code, including all appendix chapters, the 2018 International Mechanical Code, including Appendix Chapter A, the 2018 International Plumbing Code, including Appendix Chapters C through E, the 2018 International Fuel Gas Code, including all appendix chapters, the 2018 International Energy Conservation Code, including all appendix chapters, the 2018 International Fire Code, including all appendix chapters, and the 2018 International Property Maintenance Code, including all appendix chapters, all of which are published by the International Code Council, Incorporated, and the 2017 National Electrical Code is adopted with the following amendments to said codes as described in Exhibits A and B, attached hereto and incorporated by reference, repealing conflicting provisions and other ordinances, providing for publication, and ordaining other matters related to the foregoing.
Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Mar and second by Commissioner Uribe. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item A, consideration of possible action to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with South Texas Emergency Care Foundation to administer and perform COVID-19 testing for persons identified or referred by or at the direction of the city's health authority or health department. Josh?
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. This item before you is to allow us to enter into an agreement with STEC, which will be providing the testing for us for the COVID-19 testing approval that we've had already with the lab. So now we need a partner to allow us, to help us in collecting the testing samples for us. And this is the agreement that will allow us to enter into that. STEC is here with us in case you have any further questions about their program. But it is also we want to thank them for allowing us to use their paramedic program that they have implemented, which will help us to facilitate the testing for us for those selected patients that will need the COVID testing.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, is this like, how does this differ from the other ones that we're in agreement with the lab and with, they still have to go to a doctor to get they're showing system, or who will you be testing?
We test the residents of the city of Harlingen, sir.
Yes. But the way this,
At their residence, they would have to see a doctor, we would do it at their residence.
So, and the insurance companies do not require them to go to a doctor, get a referral?
this is not going to impact there's no cost from STEC for the patient or from STEC by doing this.
So you're doing it for free?
What it is that we will cover the cost for the COVID test, which we already have an agreement with the lab. If a patient shows symptoms when they call an ambulance provider, they will be evaluated. The cost coming from a grant that STEC received, so that will be evaluated. And in order to not saturate our hospital capacities, we want to provide the test at the
Right.
site.
But that was my point though, because when we went to the agreement, I asked if are we just gonna test anybody? No, they still have to go to the doctor.
Right. No, we
And
have,
they have to show symptoms, and the doctor has to recommend that.
right.
And now you're saying we don't need to do that?
Well, it's going to be up through a medical doctor, which in this case, Dr. Moen, our health authority, will also approve the testing.
So this would go, this differs from the other testing that we're involved with.
Correct.
Because this would allow the STEC to go into somebody's home, so, or go where that individual is and test as part of their, I forget what you call it, community health
The
initiative.
response, yes.
And so these other test sites that we participate in and are, you do go and And you still have to have symptoms to get tested at ETRGV and the Brownsville site. You have to qualify and have an appointment. They've changed that rule for the National Guard testing sites. You don't have to have an appointment, you can just drive up.
Correct.
But that has been, so what you said was, that has been the rule, still is the rule for ETRGV and the Brownsville site, correct?
Correct. What it is also, this is
Yeah,
part of.
so, but this would allow us to have if Dr. Vaughn wants somebody to be tested at the house, then we send the,
But this is the patient request, so you're not gonna be knocking on doors and
Oh, no,
soliciting.
no.
There's not a solicitation, right?
no.
And,
When a
and
patient
2 to 3
contacts-
months ago, these tests were very hard to get. And they've gone into massive production of these tests. So tests are now way more easily,
I know
readily
at
available.
UT, they were taking at the lab, they were testing 200 cases a day. Now they're up to 2,000 a day.
Right.
Because it's from all over too. I mean, I get that. I'm just wanting to know if, do they still have to show symptoms, or we're just gonna test whoever wants to be tested?
Just to clarify, the patients are already calling for ambulance provider. The ambulance provider has a program in place called the Community Health Paramedic, which will evaluate the patient before transporting it to the hospital. Now, we're targeting primarily elderly, low income, that will qualify under the program, so we can provide that COVID testing for that. They don't charge, but we will pay the cost for the lab.
Okay. And this is not gonna, and I need to ask this, just so I get on my, it's not gonna hinder STEC's ability to
Correct.
deal with the 911 services, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, in the recitals, it says that this is a in-home testing and that it's targeted at elderly and low-income indigent type residents. And I was going to ask the question, so what's happening is, right now we're getting a phone call, y'all are responding, you transport them. Now we don't have to transport them, we can test them in the home. And of course, by that time, you've asked enough questions to figure out that they qualify for the test at that point.
Correct.
They show symptoms, they've already asked for service. And so now we're like, we don't really need to move them, we just need to test them.
Yeah, this is an excellent program for homebound individuals.
Right.
They will perform an assessment and evaluation of the patient before doing any transport.
And how long is this agreement for?
1 year.
1 year.
Any other questions? All right, is there a motion to approve the agreement?
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 9, consideration of possible action to approve a resolution designating the Deputy Finance Director as an authorized signatory on the City of Harlingen's bank account.
Good evening, Mayor, City Commissioners. Staff is recommending the approval of a resolution to add the Deputy Finance Director as a authorized signatory in the city's bank accounts.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 10, consideration of possible action to declare the itemized list of non-real estate personal property as surplus personal property is recommended by staff and authorize city personnel to conduct a public auction of said property on Saturday, July 25th, 2020.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a listing of our items that we are planning to have on our auction on July 25th. We are planning to have the precautionary measures of providing sanitizer, face coverings, emphasizing social distancing. So staff is recommending approval of this list of auction items and the date.
Will the auction be here, or are we doing this
Yes,
online? or-
It'll actually be an outdoor auction at our Public Works building, so it'll be an outdoor event.
And COVID precautions will be
Yes,
taken?
yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to take action to declare the list surplus property and to approve the sale?
So moved.
So moved.
You have a motion and a second.
Yeah,
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
I forgot to bring my hearing aid.
Item 11, consideration of possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading to amend the City of Harlingen's budget for fiscal year 2019-2020.
Staff is recommending approval of the amendment number 3. The reason for this amendment is we received the coronavirus relief fund funding after our last amendment. So we would like to add that in there, and then we also have other housekeeping items that we would like to clean up on the budget.
Okay.
Motion for approval.
Second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Item 12.
Thank you.
Consideration and possible action to authorize the city manager to enter into a supplemental agreement with the Texas Department of Transportation for the installation and reimbursement for the operation and maintenance of traffic signals with municipality. Rodrigo?
Was there an ordinance that needed to be read, the caption on the ordinance on that last one?
Oh, yes, I suppose so.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something.
Huh?
I was gonna mention it, but
You guys just jump in there when I make a
you give
mistake.
me that look, you know that look?
With these masks on, you can't see the
Don't be
expression on my
afraid, don't be
face.
afraid.
So we're undoing the vote to read the ordinance.
So
You are.
so we're gonna let's just read the caption, and
I'll
we'll
just
just
read.
have a do-over here.
Okay, for item 11, an ordinance amending the revenue and expenditure budget for the city of Harlingen, Texas for fiscal year October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2020. Total budget revenues will increase to $87,444,051, and total budget expenditures will increase to $94,485, $485, and $617.
94 million.
Thank you.
$94,485,617 respectively, providing for publication of the caption of this ordinance and ordaining other matters relating to the foregoing.
Now do we have a motion?
Motion for approval.
Motion to adopt. Second.
The semi-deaf man seconds.
A motion second. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Item 12, consideration possible action to authorize the city manager to enter into a supplemental agreement with TxDOT for the installation and reimbursement for the operation and maintenance of traffic signals within the municipality. Rodrigo.
Thank you, Mayor, Commission. Every 2 years, TxDOT sends us a supplemental agreement for signature by our city manager. This agreement would generate an annual revenue of $49,800, and it is for the installation and reimbursement for operation and maintenance of the traffic signals throughout the city that lie within TxDOT properties.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Item 13 is board appointments. Do we have any board appointments?
No, sir.
I have none, sir.
Any board
None.
appointments? Okay, then we go to item 14, executive closed session on the following items: attorney consultation pursuant to section 551.0712 Texas Government Code to receive legal advice regarding the city's legal responsibilities, obligations, and options for the disposition of Tony Butler Golf Course property, and advice and counsel in connection with the city's rights, duties, and privileges and obligations in connection with the Federal Aviation Administration correspondence pertaining to the ARF performance issues and related legal matters. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
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 Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to be in executive session to consult with our attorney on 2 items. There is an item where we could take action on afterwards. We're out of executive session at 6:36. We'll spare Commissioner Odive's daughter a happy birthday, because that's singers. But we acknowledge your birthday. We wish you a happy birthday. All right, item 16 or 15 rather, is the consideration of possible action to approve a memorandum of understanding between the City of Harlingen and Valley International Airport relating to the airport rescue and fire services, and authorize the mayor and city manager to sign the MOU.
Mayor, Commissioner, this is a MOU between the city and the airport, as the mayor pointed out, and this is simply documenting memorializing all the responsibilities related to the ARF, the Airport Rescue Firefighting Operation, including oversight and training requirements, and staff is recommending approval. I also want to thank Marv Esterly, our airport director. He worked extremely hard on this document, and he did a great job. The FAA has also blessed this document, so we're looking forward to moving this onward.
Motion to approve.
Second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. And that concludes our meeting. We have no further business, so we're adjourned. Thanks, Mark.